Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Trails Radio Show. Thank you for joining us today. Today, my special guest is actor Mr. Bill Lewis. Thank you, and join us in a minute. Okay, my first question to you is how did your career as an actor begin? Where did it all begin for you?
Well, truthfully, I wanted to be an actor as a young kid. Went into the Army. After the Army, I was thinking about going into the American Academy in New York. I'm a New Yorker.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can tell by the accent. Anyway, I wanted to go into acting, but circumstances being what they were at the time, I had to take a job. So a regular job because I had married and had a little baby on the way. So I took a civil service test and became a New York City cop.
Mm-hmm.
And after a couple of years, I was promoted to detective. I was a New York City detective for several years. But during that time, commercials came into being in New York. And at that time, and this is what I'm talking about, the early 60s now,
Mm-hmm.
About 85% of the commercials were cast out of New York City, out of Madison Avenue. So I really had an inside track looking like Mr. Joe Everybody. I was doing very well in commercials. Now, there was a problem with the police department because in those days, you were not allowed to moonlight. You had to be, well, not literally, but supposedly on duty 24 hours a day, especially as a detective. You always carried your gun, et cetera, and they didn't want anyone moonlighting, having an extra job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I worked in an undercover squad, and here I was splashed all over the TV set, I was very fortunate. I got some really wonderful commercials. One in particular was a Comet Cleanser I did for almost 14 years as the interviewer. At any rate, I was asked to quit doing commercials because it interfered with, it didn't interfere with police work. I always did it on my off time. Mm-hmm. But it interfered with the rules. And I couldn't do it at the time because, well, things being what they were, at that point, I was doing so well. We had a little farm in upstate New York and some horses. And so I took a year's leave of absence to get my life straightened out and see if I could do a few commercial things, just get away from it. But unbeknownst to me, a year went by and I didn't even realize it. I was having so much fun working as an actor that I never realized the time had flown by. And when someone said, weren't you supposed to go back after a year or something, or within a year? And I said, my God, the year's up. It has been up for the last few months. I never realized it. I was having the time of my life, and still am. The business has been glorious to me. I've worked. I've made wonderful friends. I've worked with wonderful people, and I couldn't have asked for any better life as to being an actor.
Absolutely, absolutely. When the acting bug bites you, you're kind of in it. Yes. Before we continue, I want to thank you for your service in the Army and thank you for being a detective. I support the guys in blue. We need more people like that, and God bless you for doing that, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I support them too wholeheartedly. I get a little upset when I see what's going on these days, but let's not get into politics. Let's just talk about the acting.
Yes, sir, of course. Do you have any upcoming projects? Are you still doing films and commercials?
No. Right now, I'm sort of cooling my heels. I just auditioned this morning for a commercial, and I don't even know what the heck it was for, to tell you the truth. Some sort of at any rate, I auditioned, but I'm so busy. I'm in the process of not moving, but I just bought a little place in the Villages in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So consequently, I'm like busy moving and trying to get the lights turned on and the water keep pumping, and until I get down there next week and start taking care of it all by hand. I would like to. I'm just at the point where I'm almost about ready to retire. I don't think you can ever wholly retire from this business because, well, let's face it, we're also you get paid for playing, and it's a wonderful life. And again, I love doing what I'm doing. I'm very happy working all the time. So, but no projects upcoming. My significant other is in the middle of filming a thing called The Hunters with Al Pacino.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh golly, which is a very nice job. She's working on that right now. Her name is Marsha Rod. You ought to look her up, Trey.
Okay, yeah, I will, and maybe I could interview her. Definitely.
Maybe you could. But no, whenever she's a very busy lady. As I say, I'm cooling my heels right now because of this move, and I don't want to commit to anything that's going to hinder the taking over that property.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand, and I agree. There's never really a certain age to retire from this business. It seems like a lot of actors these days, they get more roles when they as they get older.
It's so true. And I admire the Brits. I really do. It seems that there are no age limits in England. I have friends of mine who are working over there who have a license to work over there. I mean, it's kind of tough to get something, but they married Brits, either male or female, and they have the green cards, and it's marvelous. I mean, the older people work like mad.
Mm-hmm.
And here they have a little something about age, but that's okay. It all works out.
Definitely. If you love acting or interviewing or voiceover work, if you have to have a passion to be in this business. You can't just be in it for the money, because that is not always the case.
That's absolutely true. Anyone, young fellows, young people, young guys who ask about it, I say don't do it unless you are really into it 100%. You can't just say, well, I'm going to try it, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. No, that doesn't work. If you want it really badly, as I did, you work at it all the time, and you take any part that comes up. As I say, I was a kid in New York, and anytime an off-Broadway show was coming up and they were casting, boy, I was right there at the head of the line. I wanted that. I really believe you learn by doing. And the more you can feel comfortable with yourself and with the people around you and with just being on the stage, the better off you are. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to be there. 100%.
Definitely. And you never stop learning. There's always room to learn. Find an acting coach, acting teacher, acting classes, Even if you're an old actor in your 80s, there's always room to learn.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I still watch, I do a lot of movie watching, and I've learned to really concentrate on what these people are doing. Why are they there? I mean, what are they doing? I'll tell you who was a great one to watch. I caught on to him when I was a kid, of course, and it was Mandy Patinkin.
Wonderful actor.
Yes, and he does things with his body, with his voice. He really gets into the character. He studies the character, and he works at it hard. And he's a wonderful person to emulate. Not copy, but emulate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to young people, learn. Never stop learning. You never do, of course, as you said. But and also, you just have to get out there all the time. You can't just wait for it to come to you. You must be able to if you see something, go for it. Even if you don't think you're right for it, somebody might like your nose. You never know who's listening. You never know who's watching.
Absolutely. And when you go into an audition, you have to give it your best. Give it your absolute best. Don't hold back. And, if that leads to my other question, next question, what do you find is the most difficult part about being an actor? And I always get the answer, don't take rejection personally. And that's very true. When auditioning comes, you don't take rejection personally. It's not personal, it's business. Casting directors often have their mind set already on the actor, their vision in their mind on who they want.
Well, that's absolutely true. Well, it's hard. It's easy to say don't take rejection personally, because I find whenever I go, through the years, it becomes less and less and less. The anxiety, etc., of going on auditions, and let's face it, not everybody can get every job. There's somebody else. And now, if you remind some producer or casting director of an argument he had with his wife or her husband that morning, I don't care what you do. You can read like Olivier. You can bounce around like Danny Kaye. You're not going to get that job. So it's very nebulous. So what you do is you go in, you do your best. And if you don't do your best, you're screwed. Why? Because they'll never call you back again if you're only putting half-hearted in and you're lousy. You got to try, and you always try your best. If you can't do your best, don't go in. That's it.
Absolutely.
You're better off staying home or telling your agent you got COVID or some damn thing or other,
That's true. When you go in for an audition, you have to give it hell. You have to try your damnedest to do it, and actors, casting directors only accept the best. You have to give it the best. There's no such thing as perfect, but you have to give it, like I said, you have to give it hell. You have to go for
that's
it.
That's right. You're absolutely correct, Trey. You work at it. You play with it. You, as I say, you do a lot of off-Broadway. You go to school. You learn from acting teachers. Some of these teachers are just so on. They can get so much out of young people, or even old farts like me. It makes no difference. Just get out there and work at it. That's if you love it. And again, you have to love it, and I do.
Absolutely. I started in the business professionally, really, when I was 13. I started with theater, and then I started with voiceover work and radio, and I love it. I'm 21 now, 21 with high-functioning autism and a few other different special needs, but I enjoy what I do very much, and haven't looked back ever since.
Yeah, well, see, I have several children. I have a daughter who came here, who she's bilingual, incidentally, but she went over to Germany with the company of Phantom of the Opera. Mm-hmm. And she, again, bilingual. She speaks German fluently. While she was there, she got a job. Somebody heard her on stage and asked her if she would do a little announcing for them because she was going to stay a while. She loved the country and she just wanted to stay a bit. Next thing you know, she was broadcasting the news on Deutsche Welle radio for several years, and now she's back in the States living in North Carolina, I might say, and she narrates books. And she had to work very hard to get in because she got in a little late, and had to audition, but now she's got a couple of 100 books under her belt. She's got several golden microphones and all sorts of wonderful stuff. I'm extremely proud of her, but she worked her tail off to get there. And she's all set now.
Absolutely. You have to work in this business. There's no room for laziness. There's no hand-me-downs, no favors. You have to work.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. People say, well, look, he's an actor, or what the hell? He goes up on the thing and does. Fully, you got to work at it, because if you don't do it, there are 10 people right behind you that want to do it passionately, and it's move over, Charlie, because here I come.
Absolutely.
What else can we talk about?
Well, you mentioned you started with really commercials. Do you also do theater, or have you done?
Oh yes, oh yeah. I have a lot of theater under my belt. As I say, anytime I saw an off-Broadway show going or a Broadway show going, I went for it. Then I started doing lots of plays. I got into musicals. I think my first one was Gypsy. And then from there, I love being on stage. I love being in front of an audience. And I've worked, dinner theaters all over the country. I've worked on ships. I did My Fair Lady on the Norway, and I did an Italian line cruise for several months. I just enjoy what I do, and I've been the business has been wonderful. I've been very fortunate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You never stop working in this industry, really. Even if you retire, you can always bounce back and go for a role,
Oh yeah. No, that's the beauty of it, If you need a little rest, and I'm not saying everybody does, it's just speaking off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. If you need a little bit of a rest, fine. But when you come back, you lose something, because there are other people that are there. And this is a very tricky business. Out of sight, out of mind. If you're not there, they'll hire somebody. There's a lot of talent out in the street. And you've got to be on top of things. You've got to be there. You've got to be ready. When somebody calls you, you've got to be ready. And there's no two ways about it. Otherwise, you're not going to work. And if you want it badly enough, it's not a job. It's a wonderful, wonderful profession. And if you want it badly enough, you'll do it, and you'll do it. And it's not work. When you love doing something, it's not a job.
Absolutely. My parents raised me on that. If you find something you love, it's not really considered work. If you love doing it, it's not work, Mm-hmm. Well, we talked about, do you have any other pieces of advice for people who want to get into the industry? We talked about, don't take rejection personally, always learn,
Oh, yeah, well, that's about it. Gosh, there's so much, it's not, doing a telephone interview is well, first of all, it's very new to me. And second, it's hard just to pluck things out of the air. It's better off when we're sitting down, Trey, with a couple of drinks and then enjoying ourselves. But at any rate, no, I can't think of anything right now off the cuff, because all I can say is, again, you have to love what you're doing. Never stop doing it if you love it enough, and work at it. You never stop learning. You go in, you go to school, you go to teachers, you learn you learn new movements. Dancing, wonderful. Always take up some sort of movement class. And of course, if you can sing a little bit, that's fine too, because then you're a triple threat. Someone who can move well, or even keep rhythm, for Pete's sake, and carry a tune and do well, they have a much better chance in the business.
Absolutely. Take all what you can get. If you do theater, go for voiceover work. Go for, get all the experience you can get in this industry.
That's right, Trey. That's right.
Well, Bill, thank you very much for letting me talk to you. It's been a pleasure,
Well,
sir.
and I appreciate you calling. I really do. I think it's fun, and one of these days I hope we meet up face to face. Look up Marcia Rod, Marcia Rod. She's done lots of Broadway, and of course she's doing the job now in The Hunters. And give her a call or give her a text or something one day. She's got the same manager I do. So we'll talk.
Okay, great.
Nice meeting you, Trey. You stay well, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'll send you a link to this interview so you can listen to it. So,
Okay. All right, pal.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Mr. Bill Lewis, actor. Thank you very much for listening. We don't have any interviews scheduled for next week, not yet, but I'll let you know on the social medias, all I have. Thank you very much. I hope you all have had a wonderful day, very informative, very entertaining, and as always, God bless.